Pickaxe.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Bring a date, your squad, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Hey y'all, it's time for Rolling Dice and Taking Names. In this episode, the guys review Zombie Princess, Chang'an, and Comic Book Boom. Plus, a past partner performs as a part-time podcast participant. Try saying that 5 times fast.
Hello and welcome to Rolling Dice and Taking Names. This is episode 379, Long and Winding Road. My name is Marty. If you are a longtime listener of the show, you'll know that the only time that we use Beatles songs as titles of our episodes is when we have on the gentleman. He is the Chaz Marler, who used to be of Pair of Dice Paradise, but I guess it kind of still is in some sort of way, but his current YouTube channel, Game Night Picks. Chaz, it has been way too long.
It has been far too long indeed. Hey, Marty, how in the world are you doing? It is so nice to see you.
It is so nice to see you. I called this the long and winding road because it's one of those things that's been kind of a journey. I went back and looked, and to the best of my knowledge, I believe the first episode you were ever on was episode 47 back in September of 2014. So we're on 379 right now. You were on 47. I went back and looked up old emails. Like, when's the first time I maybe ever reached out to you? The oldest one I could find was earlier in that year. So for those who are looking at time spans, we started this show December of 2012. And I first got in touch with you around 2014. You think, man, that hasn't been that long ago. But then you look at it. Here's how you can relate this. Imagine that you and I started first grade together.
Oh my.
We've known each other long enough to where we just graduated high school.
Yeah, we just, oh my word. And you went and majored in communications, and I minored in, I don't know, putting around, figuring out what to do next. But it's brought us to the same place today, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. And I said the long and winding road because this is one of those things where everybody knows with like friends and stuff like that, there's just like diverging paths that just happens in life that will bring people together. And then sometimes things happen and you don't stay in touch as much. And that's what happened. Chaz and I probably haven't really talked a lot in the past several years, just for various things. He was doing projects, I was doing stuff. We just kind of lose touch. And then all of a sudden out of the blue, I guess maybe it was late last year, earlier this year, we just kind of started talking again. And then I'm like, dude, it has been so long.
I had a messaging app that I used, and we connected one day on that app. I thought that was great. Oh, Marty, I haven't talked to you. And at that point, I hadn't talked to you in a while. So then I sent you a message, and to be honest, I didn't hear back from you. And I thought, Marty's moved on. It has been too long. And then years go by. And then when we reconnected just a couple months ago, you told me, oh yeah, I uninstalled that app. And I never saw your message. I was like, oh, I should have probably just also tried like a backup email or something, but live and learn.
Yep, that's exactly right. So it's one of those things that the intention was there. The message just did not get through, but that's all right. We could start making up for lost time. And the reason why I'm having you on is because Tony was unable to record the intro and outro of this episode because he is doing a family thing. Now, for those wondering, well, what about reviews and stuff? Don't worry, before Tony got on the road, Tony and I recorded several reviews together. So Chaz is going to sit in here with me for the intro segment, outro segment, but the middle of the show will have Tony and I doing our crazy stuff. However, we are introducing a new way that we're going to do reviews. And right after the intro, you're going to hear he and I explain how we're going to kind of alter how we do reviews. And if you as the audience has any feedback to that, we asked for that. And to give us that, you can always do that on social media. You can come to our Discord channel where a lot of people give us feedback there. But you'll hear about that more later in the show. Now, Chaz, obviously there's so much to talk about. But the fact that it's been a while since you've been on the show, and we were first on here 12 years ago, we were talking about just how things have changed in the community. From content creation to board games and everything, it's just crazy how much everything has changed. And if I'm trying to remember correctly, I reached out to you because you were doing a segment on the Dice Tower weekly show, or he had a daily show or something like that. Do you remember when that started and what that was?
That had to be the Dice Tower show was the weekly board game breakfast. And I believe around the 17th episode of that, Tom Vassal, the host of that, put out a word for anyone who wanted to be a contributor. And I had just started my own channel, just several months before that. And so this had to be 2013, maybe into 2014, but in the 2013 area, I put together a segment and sent it off. And, then one thing led to another and did that segment 200 times over the course of 4 years.
200 weeks?
That was 200 weeks worth of episodes.
Jeez.
Yeah. And that's, though you were also doing a segment on that show periodically. And so that's how we connected, because we both enjoyed each other's work.
Yeah. Yes. I think, was the segment Head in the Clouds?
Yes. Yeah. And the listeners at home can't see it, but Marty, you can see it on our little call is right here. I have behind me, I salvaged, I cut out a portion of my backdrop from that. So I actually have my original clouds at the Head in the Clouds behind my computer desk where I record stuff like this.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, y'all, we are recording video. So what I'll do is I'll clip a little bit of this and you can see behind him in the old school Head in the Clouds segment that used to be on Board Game Breakfast. I just looked up your channel. You created your channel August 20th, 2013. So holy cow, very early in both of our content creation journeys, we hooked up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, remember we met at that Gen Con. It must have been Gen Con 2014 then. That was when we first met in person. And I remember we were at we were at a zoo. And was it a Gen Con or was it Origins? And it must have been Gen Con.
It was Gen Con. And
it was Gen Con.
I cannot remember the company that invited a bunch of content creators to the zoo, but I remember it was extremely hot.
It was extremely hot. That's the one thing I remember too, is it was so hot.
Yeah, and then we walked around and talked. And I remember the reason why I'd even reached out with you is because of all the breakfast segments that you did. I remember yours was really stood out as unique with some unique comedy. And I thought, man, our sense of humors have a lot of intersections. And what was so cool is over the years, you and I would coordinate, do a lot of different things. I mean, obviously you were on the show annually for our awards thing, and you'd always do a little bit for it. When we would get together, sometimes we would record videos and together and do bits, and it was just cool being in I call it a writer's room, but a brainstorming writer's room with somebody to bounce off ideas, because Tony doesn't really get into that whole wanting to do bits and stuff. I mean, he would, but and I know he's listening to this. He knows this. He'll play the straight man. I've got to play the comedic part,
Sure, yeah. And there are, that's part of any collaboration. Sometimes you'll have people that go in, it's like, okay, we're going to go into the writer's room and we're going to develop an idea. And sometimes there are collaborators who are like, look, I'll do whatever you want, but just give me the script and tell me what you need. And there's a place for both those things.
Yes. Now, I will say Tony is really good at I'll throw him ideas and then he'll go through it and go, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. How about this? Almost like not a copyright, basically an editor. That's the better word for it. Yeah. Kind of, he has like editor and he's like, redline that, put in these notes sort of deal, which is good to kind of give it to somebody else to handle. So I have such great memories over the years of doing little bits with you. I remember one that I still enjoy. I don't know, the way you edited and put it together was so funny. This was during the pandemic when everybody was having to stay home and stuff. And I was wanting to do something. So we came up with this bit. You were doing like top 10s for BGG during that time. Is that correct? Is that who that was for?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Let's say yes. Let's pretend we remember and say yes.
It was like top 10 lists from BGG. Maybe it wasn't for BGG, but that's where it came from. I pitched this idea of let's do something together. And it's like, well, how are we going to do this? And basically I came to your house and was sitting outside your window and you came out your second story window. And I was like, hey, I was wanting to hear what the top 10 was. And that's how you did your list, and the way you edit it and everything was just so well done and so flippin' funny. I've always just appreciated how you edit and produce your stuff. It's just top notch and still is.
Well, thank you. But wait, I need to tell you how I remember that story.
Okay.
The way this might not be accurate, but the way I remember it is I released that month's top 10, and then a couple of days later, you contacted me and said, hey, I filmed something for you. And you sent me this file, which was your side of the conversation that you filmed in your yard. And then you sent it to me and said, hey, maybe you can do something with this. And then I took your footage. I was like, okay. And I scripted my half of the conversation after the fact and then spliced it together. And it is one of my favorite collaborations that I've done just because it was so unique and just so out there the way that you did it.
The way you remember it's accurate. So y'all, I'm going to find this if it's still on your channel.
Oh yeah,
I will find
I'll
this.
send you the link. You could put in the show notes or something. Yeah.
And I will put it in the show notes and y'all go watch it and look at the brilliant editing. That is what happened. So, all right. So 12 years of making content creation stuff. And boy, has it changed. During that time, there wasn't a lot of people doing it. There wasn't such a thing as TikTok at the time. And 12 years later, the landscape has totally changed. Thanks to better computers and tools and stuff and phones, anybody can make video content. There are dozens, hundreds of channels around board games. Right now, there's just as many or more podcasts. It's a tough environment right now. I'll tell you what I think and see what you think. If I was like, I want to get into it, I would almost talk myself out of it because there's so much and I don't know how I would make myself different. We'd be more intimidated now to start from scratch than I did in 2012.
Oh, for sure. It is definitely a much larger pond. But to be honest, even with it being a larger pond, if someone wanted to start from scratch today, the advice that I would give them would probably be the exact same advice that I would give them 13 years ago, which is if you have that passion, that creative drive to make something and you have something to say, do it. Set your expectations accordingly. But if you have that artistic expression that you want to get out there, let that drive you. That's it.
I have totally lived by a statement that you made. You probably told me a decade ago about how do you stand out in content creation? It was 3 things. Do you remember what those 3 things are?
Okay. It's one of 2 little sets of 3. It's either the philosophy I read once of how to have the best odds of succeeding at business, which is to be either first or the best or different. Being one of those 3 things will give you an advantage. Is that the list you're talking about?
That is 100% the list. Okay. And I have referenced that mentally so many times. That's why I'm always coming. It's like, what can I do that somebody else isn't doing? Is there a way to be first? And the thing is that with so much content out there right now, it's hard to be first. All right. So if I can't be first, how to be different? Okay, somebody else is doing this, but how can I be different than what they're already doing? And then being best. I mean, to me, they all look like obstacles, but I always try to pick one of those paths to shoot for. And I've done that for years.
Yeah. There is the other set of 3. I guess we don't want a Chekhov's gun situation here, but the other set of 3 rules that I think are a really good guidebook are to speak truthfully, emote without worry, and then edit ruthlessly. And I think if you do those 3 things, then you'll create a unique voice in any sized ecosystem.
Yeah. And so there you go. Hey, if you want to get into content creation, there's a couple things to live by. So now you have your game night picks, and you have a lot of different types of videos that you've done and played around with. And one thing I've always appreciated about you is you really, for me as a consumer, it feels like you're willing to take a risk to try to do something that's different and just see if it lands. There's probably things that maybe you've done. It's like, that just didn't land at all, pivot. Or, oh, that kind of worked. Stick with it. I'm not saying it's not trial and error for you. I think you put a lot of focus and thought into each thing that you do. But, sometimes it is like, I just got to put it out there and see what sticks or not.
Yep. Hey, you know what's funny about that is consistently when you try a series, like one of them is, I was one early on about kind of social anxiety and gaming, that Meeples for Sheepish Peoples, and a couple other little series. Oh, the Table Scraps one was another one where we do the live show, and you joined me on a couple of those. And then we'd cut up the live show to make a little editorial afterwards. But those little specialized series like those, they didn't get a lot of viewership. They're on the low end of views, but consistently, when I'm at a convention or somewhere and someone walks up to me and they say to me, "Oh, hey, I really enjoyed this thing you made." It's one of those little passion projects. It's the Meeples for Sheepish Peoples or something like that. It's always those little special projects. Those are always the ones that people, point out that were special and connected with them. And that is a really big incentive to oh yeah, follow that drive. Try, experiment, because something that might not, on paper, oh, this didn't get a lot of views. Well, it still may be connected with a lot of people. And that's really, really fulfilling.
Yeah, that's great. And I remember that series. And I remember, I'm surprised it didn't get a lot of views because I heard so many comments. I heard so many people referencing that video out of context of something on your forums and stuff. I'm seeing, hey, guys, if you're dealing with, how to handle yourself at a table or a convention or something. If you're an introvert, go check out this series that I found on YouTube. I saw that referenced a lot. And it's one of those things that sometimes the self-help stuff, it's like, well, did it get a lot of views? Maybe not, but it may have had the biggest impact on a person.
Yeah. What's the word? Resonance. Hopefully some resonance. Yeah. But, to be fair, there's been a lot more stuff that has been tried. It was just, nope, that didn't work. Let's move on. So there is no magic bullet or anything. And I am not a special little snowflake in any regard.
So my content creation has changed. Obviously, shorts have become a thing. Is that something that you've ever thought about toying with? I kind of have. I've been playing around with it where I pull out bits from a podcast episode. Because of the tool that I'm now using, I can create little bits that I'm hoping will oh, that was a cute little funny thing, with the hopes of, oh, I enjoyed that. I want to hear more about it. I don't know that it's worked, but I have been playing around with it. Have you monkeyed with shorts at all?
To be honest, I have barely monkeyed with shorts at all. I have the idea of, when I do shorts, I want to go in and instead of just trickling out one every now and then, I want to make a concentrated effort and have a strategy to really see if I can get traction with it. And that's always one of those things of, okay, I'll make my strategy tomorrow. Today I have this other fire I got to put out. And, tomorrow turns into the day after tomorrow and so on and so forth. So I haven't got to that point yet. It's still tomorrow.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And I will say, I don't use TikTok a lot. I don't know. I'm probably a platform I shouldn't monkey with. I'm just never on it. So the shorts that I end up putting on it goes on YouTube, obviously, but now you can also do like shorts on X and Instagram, and I usually throw them all up there too. So so content creation has massively changed, and so has the industry itself. I see the first year you said we met at Gen Con was, you say 2014-ish, about around there. I don't have the numbers. I should pull them up. I know the first time that I went to Gen Con, there was only 35,000 people in attendance, and that was 2010. So obviously 2014 would have had more. But the popularity of board games have obviously grown over the past 12 years to where now Gen Con has double, the 35. Mm-hmm. They're having 75,000 people, and all the conventions have grown. For sure, there is a larger player base there. This is something I've been struggling with, is the board game community and how big it's gotten to where I feel like it's less of a community. With something the smaller that it is, the more of a community, the bigger it gets. I find that there's an ecosystem of communities within that large group of people.
I would agree.
It seems like that's what's happening here. Used to be when I could go in a convention, you would sit down across from somebody and you would have a lot of intersection. The Venn diagram was there probably some way. So many people are gaming now, it's hard for me to get those intersections with just random people without kind of being intentional about it. And a lot of times it comes down to the type of game. It seems like some of the best communities I've seen, and I've actually been thinking about doing a YouTube talking head thing on this. Some of the best communities I've seen are very game focused. Magic the Gathering communities. If you go into a game store, what community is it? It's a Warhammer 40K. It's a Magic. It's this. It's RPGs. Broad board gaming communities, I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be as tight as what they used to be.
Do you think that you would be able to find those communities if you were to dissect the broader board gaming community down into subgenres like, Euro gamers or party gamers and things like that?
I know for a fact there's 100%. There's wargaming communities.
Certainly.
There are games that are focused on massive games like Root. I know there's a lot of Root communities. I know at one time here in Charlotte, there was a big Terraforming Mars contingency. I'm just saying it seems like the tight communities now seem to be very niche and focused around one thing. And now when this big group of people get together, I mean, they have a common thing. I'm here to enjoy games, but it might not be like, let's sit across from each other and play a game. What do you want to play? Well, I don't play this. What do you want to play? I want to play this. Well, I don't want to play that. You don't want to play this. We're going to find somebody else.
Would you say that that's actually a sign of health in our industry, that our industry has grown to the point where there can be that level of difference in the groups that are interested in certain types of games, where there are more games and game communities for specific kind of Venn diagrams of likes, where instead of going, I'm going to this convention and I'm just going to go out and play everything, you can know, I'm going to go to this convention and I know I'm going to find people who want to play Root, or I know I'm going to find people who want to play, some really heavy Euros and such. And instead of just going and taking what you're going to get.
That is a great question. I think obviously a growing community is healthy, but it's so diverse in our likes and everything like that I've seen a lot of unhealthy stuff going on. Of like, well, I don't think like that. I don't like that game. It's a stupid game. I don't want to play that. Where people don't value that we have different opinions on things. Like, I may like this game. You don't like this game. I've seen some bad actors come up or spring up from stuff like that. So it's healthy to show that we're growing, but I also see that there might be a few pockets of where that could cause some problems. And a lot of it too is a lot of the people that are, the more apples you have, the more likely you have some of them that are bad.
Sure. And another thing too is, it's not unique to board games.
No.
I have a friend who is into artistic wood, like intarsia and other wood stuff. I have another friend who's really gotten into the online colognes community and has found this whole rabbit trail of stuff about cologne. And what I have discovered in talking to them about these other completely separate communities is it's the same thing. You'll have the superstars, you'll have the up and comers, you'll have the bad apples, you'll have the leaders, you have the events and the conventions, and it's the same thing, just a different theme. And it's fascinating that everything we experience with this community, every community experiences. So it's not, because the one thing I would worry about is wondering, is that caused by the social nature of our activity? Board games by their nature are social. So is that what's causing this type of issue? It's like, no, it's just, I believe everything that involves a human being is going to have those problems.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because that is a point. That is not a thing that you'll just find here. It's you would find anywhere. So, okay, now I'm going to pivot a little bit from that. Content creation, the community. What are some of the changes in just the board game landscape that we've seen over the past 12 years? If you there's a couple things that you pick out as this is way different than what it used to be. What's some of the couple things that just immediately, there's two things that pop up to me, but go ahead.
Oh, okay, good. Well, interestingly enough, just yesterday, I got a comment on a YouTube video where someone just out of the blue mentioned this very thing. They're like, 6 years ago, every Kickstarter was chock full of minis, whether the game needed it or not, and was just huge with plastic. But today, it seems like we're on a trend towards games getting smaller and more modest in their components, perhaps. And I think that there's several factors that are contributing to it, but I do think it is a trend we are seeing. And I think we'll continue to see before it evens out, and maybe before the pendulum starts swinging back the other way. We'll continue to see that. That's my bet, my hunch.
All right. Well, that's actually one of the things. Games do tend to be getting smaller. I want to hear what are some of your reasons? I have a couple ideas of why I think they're getting smaller, cheaper. I mean, obviously, there's still some big Kickstarters out there. And obviously, one of the things that's really changed over the past 12 years is early on, Kickstarter was very new and it wasn't a big thing. And now it's a major market driver, right? So that's one major, crowdfunding is a major change that's happened.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's also repercussions it's the ripple effect of several big economic factors that have happened. Of course, there's the pandemic, which affected everything. And then you've had some other, in the last couple of years, some additional economic stresses that have happened due to taxes and corporate shenanigans and whatnot. Sure. And I think that that's also having a ripple effect that we're going to see for a while before that straightens out.
The community has grown so much. And one of the easiest things to probably get that there's a lot of crossover with what people like are these smaller card games.
Oh, yeah.
Number one, economies of scale, right? It's way cheaper to produce a card game. It's way easier to produce 5 card games and hope that maybe one lands as opposed to one game that costs the same as 5 and it flops.
That's true.
It's a return on investment. You got to think these companies are thinking, okay, it's just like content creation. What can we make that we think will stick? And it's like, we've got these 5 cheaper games. And if these work, we know we can get them on the pegs at Walmart, Target, etc. like that. And a lot of people now are going to these big box stores. Another thing that's changed 12, 13 years ago, you didn't see games like Catan and stuff like that in Target. That has been a total shift to where these mass market games are showing up. One easy way to get in that mass market is with small games.
Small, accessible games. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep. If you can get your game into the Barnes and Nobles, the Targets, and the Walmart shelves, then that is definitely a driving factor in what product you're going to develop. Absolutely.
I mean, one of the prime examples of it most recently is Flip 7.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the first time I demoed Flip 7, I thought this is absolutely amazing. And when I heard it was going to go to, I think at one time it was a Target exclusive. I don't know if it still is. I thought this is going to go insane. And that was a pretty impressive trick that Chaz just pulled off of taking his shirt off without
my outer shirt, my overshirt. Let us clarify, please. My overshirt. I'm not getting that casual here in the recording area.
I mean, it was just like a smooth poof. It's off. I was like, dang, that's really impressive. So when I heard Flip 7 had sold millions of copies, I was not shocked at all. And you got to know that every publisher is looking, holy cow, how can we get an $8 game out that sells millions of copies?
You know what? That's a good point. And that might also be another contributing factor, because this industry does follow some trends that work. And so if a Flip 7 comes along and says, hey, look, here's an $8 game that's selling millions of copies, every other publisher is going to be tempted to go, how do we develop an $8 game that's going to sell a million copies? That's what the market's looking for right now. That's what's seeing success. Let's do that too. That's smart business, going where the community is.
It is, but you've eliminated two of the things that we talked about earlier. You're not first. You're not different. So you've only got one option left, is to be the best.
That's it's all a circle. It all comes back. And I think even more importantly, I was right. So,
so the pandemic, I think, had a huge effect. Another way too is a lot of people brought more gaming into their homes. You can't get out, so now I'm going to bring the games in. Now, that had a positive and negative effect. A board game boom that happened in 2021 because there was nothing else to do. And a lot of companies took that signal incorrectly and said, here we go. We're on a big upswing. Dump and pump, baby. Just start. Oh, crap. 2022, 2023 comes around, and all of a sudden, the market cools off. The people who were buying those games, who aren't going to Gen Con, which is most gamers, decided, oh, cool, I'm going to get back outside and do stuff. I've got these games, I can play whatever I want, but I'm not going to buy any more. The market cooled off. And I think that hurt a lot of publishers who predicted this upward trend would continue.
Interestingly, exact same thing happened on YouTube. 2021, views started going up and up and up and up because everyone was stuck in their home looking for something to watch. And there was that temptation to go, oh, this gravy train's never going to end. Views are going to continue on this upward trajectory to the end of time. Then 2022, 2023, 2024 cooled off, plateaued, and started to come back down as people went back outside. And so, and I think it caught a few content creators off guard. Caught me off guard a little bit, actually, to be honest. And it's that same cyclical process, and it can affect multiple different areas of the hobby for sure.
Another thing that I think that the pandemic caused is a lot of solo gameplay.
Oh, that was one of the things on my list. Yes, a lot more games seem to support one-player options.
A game coming out as solitaire was just unheard of. Why would I play a game? I sit at a table to play with other people, not by myself. Pandemic comes along and go, well, you're not going to play with anybody else, so what are you going to do? However, I think some things get taken to the extreme. One of them is every time a Kickstarter comes out, I swear, if it's a multiplayer game, the comments are going to come in, but will it have a solo mode? If it's not coming out first with the solo mode, I think that could be a detriment to the game to put the designer all of a sudden forced, well, I got to come out with a solo version of the game. And if it wasn't meant for solo, don't stick a solo. And people, Kickstarter, game founder comments, it can be extremely mean, right? We know that. It's the community. It's any community. You can have talked about that earlier. But some of these are like, I can't believe you don't have a solo. This is the thing you should have a solo. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. It's not for you. There's all these other games. But yeah, so getting back to how games have changed, games have gotten smaller. I also feel that games are safer. I feel that there are a lot of themes and stuff. Oh, one thing that's gotten safer is Euros. I love the acronym somebody told me about several months ago. MPS. You know what MPS stands for in a Euro?
No.
Multiplayer solitaire.
Oh, okay. Yes, I am familiar with that term.
How many Euros now come out to where all of us have our own little board, our own little tableau, and for 90 minutes to 2 hours, we're doing our little thing. Ding! game over. Who got the most points? Yay, that was fun. And I was a big fan of those. Mm-hmm. But then when it's like over and over and over, I want more player interaction. I found that those tell stories. There was, we have Ameritrash and Euros. Which one are you going to walk away from the table and have more stories? Ameritrash, 100% of the time. Twilight Imperium. I mean, you could probably go back to Battlestar Galactica. Oh my gosh, I remember the time I was playing Battlestar Galactica and they didn't know I was the Cylon and I played the best game ever. I'm more likely to remember that too. Oh my gosh, do you remember when we were playing Castles of Burgundy and I put that tile down and got all those points? That was awesome.
I personally am going to give a caveat and a question in response to that. I think a caveat is the Eurotrash versus the Euro. I think a big factor is also, though, the people you're playing with.
Oh.
I have one of the most unpleasant gaming experiences I have had was with a game of Battlestar Galactica, where I made the mistake of sitting down at a table with a group that played every week for the last 2 years. And it was my first game of Battlestar Galactica. And so I sat there for, I don't know, a few hours watching everybody else play the game for me and tell me what I needed to do and then do their turns without explaining what's going on or teaching anything. And it was basically, I sat there and watched a game be played on my behalf. But, that was your example of a very story-driven game. And I have another game group I have played with before where even when we play a very story-driven game, they are a very Euro gaming mindset. And we enjoy the story-driven game, but it is played in a Euro gaming approach. And it's actually fascinating to see because we have fun and we're following the story, but we're not being left with stories. So I think there is a caveat there that it does depend on the people, the temperament of the people, and neither one is good or bad, right or wrong, but it is a factor. The other thing I was going to ask you, the follow-up, is you're talking about how you think games have gotten safer, and multiplayer solitaire was an example of that. Do you think then that the instance of multiplayer solitaire Euro games has increased over the years? Because I would question if you feel that way or if they've always been that way. And so how has that changed for you?
I personally feel, so I've been reviewing games for 12 years.
Yeah.
It seems like early on I had more player interaction, area control, bidding against each other, taking things from each other, Euro type games, right? Locking people out of things that you can't, purposely drafting this and this to keep them from getting it, more so than I have recently. Now, I've also heard too that in general, the population, especially the younger, are going to be less confrontational, less head-to-head. Designers are seeing this and go, oh, okay, if we want to appeal to a majority of the people are probably going to be more prone to play a game to where you're not butting heads with somebody else, where you might be able to play with maybe a group you don't know as well, that if you're doing things on your own and not hurting anybody else, it might be a better experience and potentially a better seller.
Okay. Totally fair. Yeah, I can see that. And I think that's a fair assessment for sure. All right. Well, now I'm stuck. Because now it's like, okay, well, how else do I prove you're wrong? How do I win the argument? How do I win? No. How do I win the casual conversation we're having?
What was so funny? It was like Chaz asked me at the beginning. He said, "How long do you want these segments?" And I said, "I don't know, intro about 20 minutes." And I'm looking at the clock and I'm staring at 40 something minutes right now, y'all. So that's the thing, man. We haven't been on the show with each other or had a chance to talk like this for a while. And a lot has happened over the years since we last, were able to connect and just talk about this. So y'all, this is literally just two old friends just kind of catch up. What do you think? What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? Sort of deal. So let me ask y'all this. Y'all been listening to this for quite a while. What are your thoughts? It's been like I said, let's go back to 2014. That's when you and I first started talking. Y'all, over the past 12 years, how have you seen things change? Have you seen communities change? Have you seen games change? Have you seen the business change? Okay, they have. But what are some other ways that you've seen them change? Come let us know in our Discord channel, or you can come up to our website, rolldicetakenames.com. You can find all of our socials there. Chaz is not I don't know if you're a member of our Discord channel. If he's not, you could talk about him. I mean, that's fine. He'll never see it anyway. So
there you go.
Unless he comes up with a unique idea and I'll know about it. So.
There's balance in the universe. He won't be here. He won't see it. So say what you want. There you go. Problem solved.
Be as mean as you want. All right, y'all. So I teased the new way that we're going to be doing reviews. Tony and I are going to tell you about it, and then we got a couple reviews, and Chaz will join me at the end.
MiniatureMarket.com, they got over 30,000 items to sell you. That's a lot of clicking, y'all. That's going out there and click all the time to see what all they've got for you. But good news, their website is so well designed that you will be able to quickly identify what it is you want. Type in the search. They'll just type in a publisher over at Miniature Market in search, and they will pull it all up for you, and you can look at all the games that are there for you to purchase. Or how about language dependent? You can select, hey, I just need English only. My favorite is the in-stock only option. I click on that whenever they're having a sale, which, by the way, is all the time. In-stock only. So I don't have to go page after page after page of the stuff that is out of stock. Or if I am looking for something from GameGenic to help me with my Star Wars Unlimited, addiction, then I can quickly see what's out at GameGenic and also see all the new stuff on that front page. MiniatureMarket.com.
Before we get to the reviews in this show, Tony and I have been talking offline about tweaking our reviews somewhat. Tony, you say sometimes I go too much into the rules, and when I go into editing and I'm sitting there listening, wow, this review is 20 minutes. And it's like, does a review really need to be 20 minutes long? Yeah. And you've already said make things shorter. So our goal is to try to streamline to make our reviews more concise and succinct.
But for any longtime listeners of Rolling Dice and Taking Names, we can say this all we want, but sometimes we're not concise. We can't help ourselves, but we're going to give it our best shot. But in all fairness, sometimes you have to go over rules just for people to understand what you're talking about. But we're going to try to avoid, on step 1, play this. On step 2, we're going to try to avoid that moving forward and try to spice it up a little bit around here.
Instead of like, all right, here's how the game works and talking about it, we're just going to start giving things we like and dislike about it. And if you've listened to the show for any amount of time, you know that we have varying opinions on what we think of games. Sometimes it helps in the end to have some sort of scale of like, how do these guys compare the game to each other or to other games? We've never done it in the past because I don't know that it's needed, but you know what? It really does help as a consumer myself is when I go out and I see a numeric score on something. And the reason why is because as I watch like a YouTube channel or read a reviewer, over history, I start to learn about them. And then I know that, if they give it this value, in the past, I've liked another game of that value. I might like this one too. So it's kind of developing a history of comparing games and having a numeric value with that. So Tony, you and I are going to introduce a scale. Nothing cute as far as a weird numbering thing. People are very used to a 1 to 10. Mm-hmm. So we're going to give games personal scores, each of us, of 1 to 10 nuts.
Yep. Oh, and let's just make sure we're clear here. 1 is great and 10 is bad. No, wait, which one's...
That would be hilarious. We're not going to do anything weird except 1 is the best.
1's the best. No. And the reason why we settled on 10 is, you go out there and you look at a bunch of the people who are where you go out to Amazon and it gives it 5 stars. That really doesn't get into the nuance, I think. I think the more you have, the better you are at judging where it is on the scale. 20 is way too many, but 5 sometimes limits. Like everybody can give something a 4. I never give a 5 on Amazon. So I think this gives a breadth to the scale with 1 to 10 nuts. Because
granularity.
There you go.
Yeah, and For a basis, 5 is an average game. I know a lot of people don't do that, but that gives 5 points above average, 5 points below. I don't like this 7 is average because that gives nowhere to go 8, 9, and 10.
Where the heck is 7 average?
Because if people will go, oh, he ranked it a 7, that's kind of an average game. I see it all the time. For some people, it must be when you went to school. Oh, I made a C. I made a 70 out of 100. 70's a C. C's average. That's where it came from.
Yeah, but that's taking a numeric scale and putting it to a grade scale. Come on, basic math, people. Divide 10 by 2, 5.
No, I agree with you. That's why it got skewed. So that's why I'm laying the baseline here right now. 5 average. And we'll mention that every time. So if Tony and I say this game is a 6, they go, holy crap, didn't like it. And went, no, that's slightly above average.
Right.
It's not bad.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot, but this is a game you and I can often discuss, and it's a real quick, easy one for us to rank. What would you give? I would give Strike a 7.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Everybody knows about Strike. Everybody knows our history with Strike. So for me, it's not a 10. It's definitely not a 1. It's above average for me just based on the fun. So it is a 7.
Man, that's good. It's between a 7 and an 8 because the experience is always so good. I'll go with the 7 too, but what pushes it up to 7 honestly isn't the rules or gameplay. It's just the fun, the chaos of it. So 7, yes, I would give it a 7. Now, a lot of people go, oh, then you consider Strike an average game because they're going back to this grade scale. That's what we're saying, y'all. That's not the case. 7 is, oh, okay, they kind of like that game. Now, will we ever see 10 games? I don't know.
Not for me.
So here's the thing. If 10's unattainable, then why is it even there?
It's attainable, but it's got to be, a 500-footer out of the park. It's got to be a huge home run.
Okay, that makes sense. So honestly, probably seeing 9s or 10s is going to be tough at this point in time. So anyway, just to set up our reviews, and we'll kind of remind you as we go through it. That's it. 1 to 10 nuts. And, we had to look it up, had to make sure I had it right. Every so often a blind squirrel will find a nut. So we might have a blind squirrel thing pop up every so often as something. And I've also thinking about, did you ever watch the movie Kung Pao?
No.
A comedy back from the 90s.
I missed that one.
So basically it was like they took like Japanese movies and then dubbed it with English, but the stuff was like very comedic. And there was this one scene where somebody brought some peanuts or something and the bag dumped out and the guy goes, that's a lot of nuts. And it's been a common saying around here. So I don't know. I might find that little snippet, and for a high scoring game, I might play that. That's a lot of nuts.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, that's it. Let's get into the reviews. I love it when we play a game and it catches me off guard. Tony, we got a game from Arcane Wonders, Chang'an, which really kind of surprised me. So this is based on a historical Chinese city. It's a card-driven game. And these cards also are like multi-use. At its core, you're going to draft some cards, you're going to play them to your board, but where they go onto your board shows what kind of action that they're going to take. And there's like a progression. Getting cards into your hand, putting them on your board is what's called your gates at the top of your board, which is used for producing your typical resources, wheat, stone, etc. But then you can build those as those cards are either buildings or characters that you put into your city district that then also have special abilities, such as characters that can be activated at certain times, ongoing abilities, or victory points. And this game is played basically until 9 cards are developed in somebody's district. And once that happens, that triggers the end of the game.
Which is who wins with the most points.
Yeah.
So when you first put this on the table and was explaining it to me, I'm like, oh, good. Another game where I'm going to be getting resources, converting resources to buildings, going back to get more resources, converting some more resources to other buildings. So I was really thinking, okay, what is going to make this game stand out than all these other games that I've been playing that have that function, that mechanic of resource manipulation to accomplish a building. And it came down to the strategic placement of the cards, which at first I did not realize how challenging that could be. Because when you develop these cards, when you place them in the gates, you can't just pick any of those cards to then later put in your city. You have to be able to do the topmost card. And Marty, that became a challenge on my board over there. I was sitting there, because on your turn, you can play a new city card and rearrange the cards. This rearranging, and you're limited by how many can be above a gate. So you can really get yourself hamstrung here. Well, I think that's the right term. Hamstrung.
Hamstrung?
Hamstrung. Yeah. Not you're not going to pull a hammy on me, but this is like, okay, I really want, and some of these cards have those instant actions that when you build them in the district, you get to go back and do something, but you better have that card that you want to have that action to occur on ready to go. But in order to do that, I got to activate this character. Then, oh my gosh, that was very strategic. I know I do this all the time and you hate it, but that's where you sit there and you got to go back and forth. You know what I mean? You're going back and forth trying to puzzle this out. It's all about the puzzling aspect where you're sitting there going, how am I going to make these combos get pulled off that makes me feel good in a game like this?
Yeah, because it's also an engine builder. As these cards are put into play, you can actually build engines upon each other. And like you said, you're going to stack these cards at a gate. There's like 4 gates that you can stack, and there's 3 cards per gate. Only the top one, you can take it, like you said, you can build a city. You can only take that, like you said, top one and put it down. Now, you can put it anywhere in your district, which is cool. But where it goes in your district, because each column district can only also take 3 cards. And sometimes the card that you place down there depends on what level it is. The further down it is, it's more expensive to put, that second and third card. But I had one card, Tony, that said, oh, by the way, if you get this into your second or third district, it can earn you even better things. But what I did like is, one of the things you can do is take a card from your hand and put it down into one of the gates. As you're doing that, you can reshuffle your cards around. Maybe take the top one of here and put it over here, and take these 2 and put it over here. You got to keep the same order that they're in. And then once you do that, each gate produces a type of resource. And at the bottom of every card, there's a resource. And if it's on the same type of gate that produces the same, like if you put a wood card on a wood gate, it will produce resources for you. But then there's something else. You look beneath that gate, and if there's a character card that's been built, you trigger it. Now, these cards that you build from above your gate, you're looking for those character cards to strategically put in the district so that they can be triggered when you take that produce action, which is really a really cool engine I was building over on my board. I came in dead last, so it obviously wasn't that great of an engine, but it felt good as I was doing it.
Yeah, I also like as you're collecting these resources, there are limits. So you can't just sit there and stockpile and then pull off a lot of building, turn after turn after turn. You also had to make when you're placing the cards above the gates to gain the resources, you may be sacrificing some that you're gaining just because you want to activate one of those character cards. Now, if I remember correctly, were there 9 different decks and we only brought 4 together? I can't remember how many we had you can pick from 4 different styles. There may have been 6, which is great. I like that, where you have multiple cards that allow you to mix and match different decks. You get to mix and mash them together, and they play off one another. Now, I can strategically go after a certain color, but that's not the best way to play this. So I enjoyed that.
In a 3-player game, we had 3 colors that you merge, and each type of deck does something differently, which gives a lot of replayability. So the next time we play, we could pick 3 totally different colors to put together, and all these cards are just shuffled together. And then the 3 cards are displayed in a market. So how do you get cards in your hand? One of the things you can do is take one of the cards in the market or take the top one off the deck. And sometimes, Tony, we found like, oh, I really wanted this yellow card. Yellow card helps me produce resources. And that can kind of start my engine off and going. Some of them are a little bit more interactive with others, like those yellow cards. You could get something on somebody else's turn. oh, when the person to your left takes this resource or does this, you also get something in return sort of deal, which I took a benefit. And Bert took a benefit a lot with some of the stuff that he got.
Well, that's because he was able to draft those yellow cards before you and I. And there's only 5 in the deck. There's the commercial, political, civil, military, and science deck. And science, it was funny who said, science deck, that sounds like, 7 Wonders science. And it kind of was.
One thing I've been really into is player interaction. How's the player interaction in this game? This is kind of interesting. I already mentioned there is a little bit of indirect player interaction. Like if I get a card in to play part of my engine, when a neighbor does something, I get something. However, remember when I talked about how do you get cards in your hand? You can take it from the market or somebody else's board. If they have cards above one of their gates and that top card looks kind of good to you, you can steal it from them. Now, what I like is, Tony, we mentioned you can only be 3 cards above the gate. The first card placed can never be stolen. The second card can be stolen for 1 gold. The third can be stolen for 3, and the person would get a wheat in return. But Tony talked about strategic of putting stuff in certain areas. If I want to make sure this really good card wasn't stolen, I put it at a gate by itself so it couldn't be. But if I wanted to build it, that means I can't put another card on top of it. Because if I do, I have to build that card first.
Went into it. Yeah, how's this going to be any different? And it was the complexity of the placement of the cards and trying to build that engine without it being so mind-numbing long. It was fast. It was quick, which are the same thing.
About 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the player count. I mean, fast game.
Yeah. You and I didn't have a lot of AP during our turns. Kidding. Because I knew you knew what you were trying to do, even though we were sitting there trying to puzzle it out. And I'm sitting there going back and forth. I'm like, okay, I think I see what's going to be the best. It may not be the most efficient, but it works. And it's not going to punish me. Overall, I'll go ahead and give my score. I'm going to give this one, we're starting off new with this, so, we may have to go back and revamp. I'm going to give this a strong 8.
Wow. I think that's a high Tony score.
That's a high score for me, because I'm thinking I would rather, 7 Wonders is one of my all-time favorites.
Sure, yes.
I would rather play this than 7 Wonders. Player count matters, of course, but I think this is one of those games that I would say, you know what, let's play this instead of 7 Wonders. Love 7 Wonders. Man's made a ton of money off of it. But yeah, I'd say, Marty, why don't you bring this one out? That's just where I am right now.
So when I compare this game to other like deck building games like Res Arcana, which I was absolutely in love with, man, does it stand out above some of the other? I'm probably going to go with 7. It's above average. It's well above average for me. But I still think I will stay at a 7. But I really enjoyed it. And I would for sure want to play it again because now I want to merge and try the other decks. As far as any negativity I have is sometimes the market was not nice to you.
Yeah.
It's like, dang it, I really want one of these cards, but it will not come up and I just can't get it. And the backs of the cards are colored.
It's coming.
So you see in the draw deck what's coming. So let's say I really want a blue card. There's no blue card on the table. There's none in the deck. I need cards in my hand. It's like, am I just going to take a card in my hand just for the hopes that maybe the blue one will come up and then somebody else won't take it? So the luck of the draw is kind of a downer bit to me, but the way the game flows and everything else, I think is really sweet. Again, a surprise. Never saw this one coming, and I like games like that.
Yeah, now you made me question my 8. That's pretty strong. But this is a new way for us to talk about games, so I'm going to hold to it. Not going to adjust yet. I may have to come back 5 episodes later and say, that game we talked about that y'all have already forgotten about? Yeah, I'm going to bring this one down here. Now, one of the things you always do is you go back and compare it to your best of games, and we've done this before. But like I said, man, if you're going to beat out 7 Wonders, that's pretty strong for me.
Yeah, that is pretty strong. All right. From Arcane Wonders, that is Chang'an. From Carlos Caramato and Nestor Mangoni.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
We've talked about on this show many times how Tony and I have played so many games of spades. In college, that was our go-to game. And we also played, Tony, a lot of hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple years ago, Bezier Games came out with a game called Rebel Princess, which was a gamer's take on hearts. So we were excited when we got a copy of Zombie Princess, which is Bezier's take on spades. And this game is designed by the owner of the company, Ted Alspach.
Yeah, spades, the best game with 4. It's the only time we, played hearts is when we didn't have 4. We played also au Pichat, so I'm hoping Bezier will come out with an au Pichat version of Princess Rebel Zombie au Pichat. So, but anyway, spades, standard card playing game, y'all. You're going to be taking tricks. You're going to be bidding based on your hand. There are some nuances to this game. One of the first nuances to this game that when you make it a gamer's game, you're going to expect some special powers. And I'm going to say I always enjoy when they add special powers to a card game. How about you?
Yeah, so you're going to get 2 cards at the beginning of the game, which are Zombie Princesses, which can give you special powers. You're going to pick one of the 2 to use. And you might be wondering, what's an example? I'm just going to read out a couple of these, Tony. This is one Tony had that was amazing. You do not have to play a prince if one was led. Wait a minute, what's a prince? A prince is a spade. Prince is basically the trump, like spades is the trumps. There was another good one here that was, you take a skull with every 2 tricks that you win, which I had. You may want, what is a skull? Well, a skull is a different added resource in this game we'll talk about in a bit. Well, here's a good one. Add 5 to the value of your card when you play it. Now, these are one-time uses per rounds.
Some are all-time active, like Cinderella.
Oh, you're right. And in fact, I actually say always active. So it's always out there. So you don't use it or lose it. Played over 4 rounds. So the ones that you can use once per round, you get back every round. And if you don't use them, you earn a skull, which is, well, Tony might as well explain. This game also has an extra currency of skulls that can be used in the game. And probably the simplest way that skulls are used is, Tony, what happens if you are doing a bid and we're short? You can actually spend skulls to make up the difference. So let's say we're 1 trick short of making our bid. As a team, we can spend 4 skulls to make up that difference and thus score that bid.
That's right. Or if you're overbidding, you may need to reduce that number of bids. So it's still like spades. You've got to make your bid, all right? And skulls give you a way to do that.
2 per trick you've taken over to make sure that you can do that. But skulls are also points at the very end of the game. You're going to take the number of skulls that you have for every 2. You're also going to earn a point. And these skulls are going to be earned potentially over each round, because another thing I like about this, which was also in Rebel Princess, is there are event cards that are going to be played each round. That tweaks the rule of each round just slightly, but also in this game, it tells you how many cards you trade with your partner. Maybe it's 1. Maybe it's 5, which is half your hand. So that dictates the number of cards you're passing and a way that you could potentially earn maybe skulls that round or just a little twist on that round.
What'd you think? Spades, I don't ever remember trading cards unless you did a blind null bid, which for that means you're not going to take any tricks, plus you're not even going to look at your cards. That's in spades. That's never here. Personally, I'm not a big fan of trading cards in spade.
It didn't bother me. I think it helps with making bids. What's interesting is the scoring in this, when you do say you're not going to take anything, what you're awarded with is actually additional skulls, 5 skulls at the end that you would get if you made that. So that's the bonus point you're getting. So I didn't mind the trade. I do like kind of trading. I don't know. It didn't bother me. I liked it.
It didn't bother me. It was just one of those things that I'm not used to when I'm playing spades. Yes, that's going back to, hey, I want to, enjoy the game that it is originally. And some of these changes may say, does that impact it? I think it changes some of the strategy when it comes to bidding. All right.
Yes.
So it's knowing that, hey, he can get, my partner's going to bid this, I'm going to be able to give him a few extra cards to help him out. And that will, as long as I'm at the second bid, I may be able to then eliminate some high cards, and that can make it easier for me to go null. But in this game, unlike spades, like you were pointing out, null gives you skulls. They don't give you points. And how do you win a game? Most points.
Now, another thing, there's a catch-up mechanic at the end of the third round. You're going to look at the subtotal that you had for the end of round 3, plus the amount of skulls that you have, and there's a little calculation that you do to determine who's kind of in the lead. And basically, the fourth round always has something, a little catch-up mechanic for the team that is not in the lead. So if you're getting blown out, that fourth round actually has a way potentially for you to catch up.
All right. So with all that said, what did I think of Rebel Princess overall? So for me, I enjoy spades, love card games, love any type of game that can bring back some of the classics that you will be playing with your family. I'm not going to put something challenging for a simple card game in front of my family. But for me and you and our game people, this is a good one to pull out. So I'm going to give this around a 6 as far as games of all the card games we've played. This was a 6. I like the changes they made. It's above average of a 5. But do I like it more than the Princess one, the Hearts one? Not as much. And there's been some other games that we've played, but it's a solid interpretation of spades using the Princess power. So I'd give it a 6 and definitely would play it again.
For me, I tend to like spades more than hearts because I do like the team aspect. I just really enjoy the can you read your teammates sort of deal. And this thing with the trading, I think adds some nuance. It's like, well, I know typically he plays because he's going to try to short his hand and stuff like that. So I like the twist in the game. So I'm going to give it just a tad higher. I'm actually going to go a 7 just because I do like spades more. And I just like the cool twist on this game.
So that is Zombie Princess from Bezier Games.
5-minute initiative is complete.
The biggest sporting event right now is the World Cup, and Portal Games is celebrating by having a special sale on their game 11. The base game of 11 is 50% off right now. You can get this game for just $25. In addition, the solo campaign, the International Cup, international players, and the stadium expansions are all only $6. Plus, the web exclusive 11 expansions upgrade pack is only $8. So why don't you celebrate the World Cup right now by heading over to shopportalgames.com and pick up this great soccer or football themed game 11, 50% off right now.
So Marty's out there scrolling the interwebs, the internet, all that fun place, and he's out there and he sees this game that came out in 2024 called Comic Book Boom, designed by Dan Nichols from Gadabot Games, that really hit close to home for us. Yes, this game. Let me just say this, and I'll let you go.
This is why I had to get the game. Go ahead.
This is all about the comic book boom of the 90s. And, there are times when if you relive something through a game or through an experience, and you can sit there and all you're going to do is talk about, oh my God, I remember when I did that. And just, and that's what this game brought about. Forget how the game played, anything like this. It was just like us sitting there talking about, you remember when we picked up and we fought for the Superman Death comic in the plastic black bag? Oh man, and all those foils and
pay for college, baby.
Pay for college. Yeah. Oh man.
When this game was, I saw it and we had a chance to review it. I'm like, dude, on theme alone, we lived this. I'm talking, I had a pull list every week in the 90s in a comic shop. I was up on everything. I backed and bagged everything. So the idea of basically you're playing as publishers trying to put out a product that you want to be marketable and has some value to it so that people will buy it. But over the course of the game, the market starts to crash. And when the final crash happens, the game's going to end. And whoever made the most money from their produced books will win the game.
So when we were first learning this game, I'm like, okay, I love stock market games, right?
Yeah.
What surprised me about this game was how much the other people of the stock market games we've played, Marty, I knew that, we could all manipulate it. But this game ramped it up.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm going to make a lot of money on this one book because shoot, nobody's going to invest in books with a theme of a ninja. Why would they do that? I don't see any out there. And then suddenly here y'all come with all your ninja books and you make the market go bust. And I'm like, oh, wow. But that's what makes me want to play this again. It wasn't anything bad about the game. It was just the experience we were having with it. I want to be able to try to maximize my collection, figure out what you knuckleheads are doing over there with your collection. So yeah, this was a winner. Yeah.
And also, it's kind of a simultaneous thing. The first thing you're going to do is everything's driven by cards. There's 3 decks of cards. There's the books, which is basically comic book cover. And by the way, let me go ahead and give a shout out to the artist, Eric Coda. Great job on the art. These are generic superheroes and stuff, but man, it's classic art. It looks amazing. Anyway, so it's covers of the books. There's also stunts that you can do to, like, for example, hey, I'm going to do a crossover here. Yeah, that's kind of the theme of it. These cards do crossover, which is going to drive up the value, or it's going to add, oh, this is a ninja book, but I'm also going to add in a robot to it to make it a ninja robot book to try to drive up the marketability. And then there's also enhancements cards. I'm going to put a foil on this book, or I'm going to make sure it's bagged and sleeved everything, or lenticular cover or something, which also helps drive the marketability. So simultaneously, we're taking these cards off the top of the deck. You take 3, keep 1, and discard 2. But Tony, you have to pay coins for every card that is in your hand before you do this. So you just can't willy-nilly get a bunch of cards. You got to decide, how far do I want to stretch it before I say, stop, I can't use all my money, and I'm just going to go with what's in my hand and go from here.
Yeah, and that was the challenge, you know? And that, I think, can be something that will create problems. How do you dig yourself out of that hole? See what I'm saying there? Luckily, between rounds, you don't always have to play all the cards, so you can get rid of them and maybe not have that cost when you start adding beginning in the next round, which is something that we forgot about, or I forgot about when we were playing it. So that was very important. You know, talking about the going out there and just grabbing cards. Wasn't a big fan of it. It was okay. I was okay with it, but I found that the stunts, it was one of those things that I was looking for certain ones, and I couldn't get them. I couldn't find them. And that was kind of hampering my collection. My collection wasn't as pristine as I wanted. It wasn't that Amazing Spider-Man number 300.
Right.
It wasn't where Batman gets his back broke.
So then after that, once everybody said, okay, I'm done getting cards, then you start developing. So now that you're looking, this is all done simultaneously, but you're looking at your hand and you go, well, I'm going to take this book cover and I'm going to pair it with this stunt and this enhancement. And you place all the cards face down in front of you in stacks, like these cards go with this stack and these cards with this one, etc. Once everybody's done, now you publish your books. So everybody flips over their books, and what you do is you go and shift the themes on the market board based on the hype generated by the stunts. So one by one, we look at our books, and there's a hype icon, and you count the number of icons, and you look at the book cover and you go, okay, what kind of genre is this? Tony had mentioned ninja, robots, etc. Oh, okay, this one is like sci-fi. Okay, I have 3 hype icons. Move up the hype icon on the market board up 3 levels. Hey, that's good, because the market board is split up into readership levels. The higher the readership, the more books you're going to sell, the more money you're going to make. Fantastic. So you go through your books, then everybody else goes through their books. But Tony, and I'm just going to pause right here for a second, this is where it could get dicey. Awesome. I just drove up that thing 3 levels. I'm going to make a lot of money this time. Oh, great. Everybody else also made that type of book. Push the hype all the way to the top of the market. Bust the market. And what do you get for it? Nada. You get $1 per card that you invested in that book, and then it's discarded. But if you can push at that hype level towards the top, then during the next phase, the profit phase, you're going to make a ton of money.
Yes. I never saw that. But yes, you can. I was always on the downturn. To that point, it's a level of anxiety that you have, which makes a game fun. When that flip occurs and you look across the board and you see what everybody else has played, and you're like, oh man, really? Y'all put that out there too? That's what made this game great. You know, it's nothing new. It's nothing, fantastics with a stock market game. It was just the theme of it. It was something we've lived. Yeah, I had a great time playing it.
Yeah. And then the last, you talked about the profit. Once the hype's done, then everybody gets to look at basically the icons. There's number of diamonds that you can have on a book. Multiply that by the readership, which is where like the current hype level is, or maybe there's some cards that up your hype level. Multiply those two together, get that number of coins. You're going to rinse, repeat until there's an overall market bubble, basically, that goes up each round. And anytime a genre busts, it also goes up. Once it gets all the way to the top and bust, the game just stops. You count up the money, the most money wins. So then you've gone through the 90s, Tony. That's it. Every publisher shut down. You just walk away with what profits that you have. And now, what do I think about this game? The theme alone got me. This was like with Spin Makers and Comic Hunters. That was a fun game because you had these actual Marvel comics, and it was a cool drafting game and the way you scored points. But this one is totally different because it is a market game. That one's a set collection type, like 4 different mini games all combined into one. This is a straight market game, and it's one that I lived through. So strictly because it's a market game and it's something I went through, so it makes me feel something when I play it, I'm actually giving this an 8.
Okay. All right.
People who listen to the show know I love market games. And if it's one of those things that this comics mean nothing to you, you're going to rate this lower. Right off the bat, you're going to feel like this is lower because does it really do a lot different? No, but the theme just pushes it up for me. It just makes something that I just laugh at, especially, hey, sweet, I can make a foil cover with this cool thing and put it right here. And then I'm going to cross this genre with this and drive up the profitability. Awesome. Oh, everybody else did the same thing. Boom, bust.
Yeah. One of the cards that hit home for me was crossover and having how they drove in the 90s, you're not going to know how the story ends until you read these other 15 crossovers. I'm like, okay. Comic Book Hunters, the various different drafting mechanisms will make this more enjoyable, or not more enjoyable. It'll be the one I will lean towards because you have the various mechanisms of doing the collection. Also, you have the art that you're very familiar with, the Marvel art. But yeah, I'm going to go an 8 with you also. I think that's one, and I actually think this one is, my family didn't enjoy Comic Book Hunters. They Rebecca and I did, but the other people, Donna and Noah, did not. But I think this would be easier for them to understand, just picking up the cards. I do think the grabbing of cards, I may have to house rule that. If I own the game, it's my game. I can make whatever freaking rules I want. And I think that's one of the things that I would have to change to. Now, everybody's grabbing, maybe, you go to the pile you want, but let's go around. You take yours here. Let's go to this pile first and do that. But yeah, and easily. Yeah. Let's play this again.
Yeah. So it's funny. If you talk about Comic Hunters, I'd probably give it an 8 too. But you know what? If you take away the theme in both of these games, it would drop it for me.
Oh, yeah.
Theme really drove both Comic Hunters and this one. You remove the theme and it's generic, cute, furry animals or something like that. The mechanics don't hold it up to that 8 that I would put it on. The theme alone carries it for me.
Yes, I agree with you. You pull the comic book theme, you pull it out of that genre for you and I.
Okay, that is Comic Book Boom from designer Dan Nichols and A Gadabout Games. Chaz, for our outro, Tony and I it's just shooting the bull at this point. It's hey man, what are you watching? What are you playing? Or anything like that. And I don't know how much of a movie buff that you are. I will say that Vanessa and I just got back from Masters of the Universe. And that movie was way better than I thought it was going to be. If you're tangential, at least, Masters of the Universe fan, I think this is a movie worth going to see. It's fun. Just a fun movie.
Well, here is an example of how much of a movie buff I am. And I think that this will sound familiar to you because we've known each other long enough that this is how I operate. Masters of the Universe. Yeah, I've heard it's getting really good reviews. So I will definitely watch that movie on an airplane 3 years from now. That's That's pretty much how well I keep up with blockbuster releases and stuff like that.
Wow.
I always racking my brains to try to think, what was the last like non-YouTube thing I actually went out of my way to watch? And I realized back in February, I watched the Beastie Boys story, which is a presentation that Ad Rock and Mike D gave where they recounted the history of the band up through like Hello Nasty and the Five Boroughs. And it was awesome. It was great. But also that was 4 or 5 months ago at this point. And I went and I looked it up, and the Beastie Boys story came out like 6 years ago. So 4 months ago, I got caught up on something that came out 6 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay, that is totally different. So, Vanessa and I love going to movies. So, let me list the movies that I've gone to see since the beginning of May. All right.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Here we go. Hokum, Mortal Kombat 2, Sheep Detectives, Mandalorian and Grogu, Backrooms, Pressure, Masters of the Universe, and we're going to go see Disclosure Day this week.
Wow. Oh, is Disclosure Day Steven Spielberg's new one that's coming out?
It is, with John Williams doing the score.
Oh, wow. Okay. See, that one I've heard some buzz about because people are like, what's he going to do? This could be interesting. And I believe that one's a super secret project, isn't it?
The trailers have been pretty much aliens are out there and it's been hidden from us.
Oh, so, okay. A documentary type of.
With the stuff in the news, it's like, oh yeah, we've known about the aliens forever. Roswell was a real thing.
You didn't know? Didn't we tell you? Yeah. Oh, well, that one kind of intrigues me. And also I did know that the Mandalorian movie with Grogu was in development. So I guess it's come out at this point. How was that one?
Fine. It could have been.
Okay.
Well, hold on. No. It could have been a solid season 4 episode on Disney.
Okay.
It felt like it was ideas that could have been episodic that were put together for a theatrical movie. No issues with it. I thought it was interesting. There was some interesting stuff going on, but it was somewhat forgettable. Sort of deal,
yeah.
too.
Yeah. Like, okay, this is like a glorified little arc that could have been on the TV show. So,
yeah,
okay.
I liked it better than what season 3 was. I liked it better than what Boba Fett was. I felt like the movie got back to what we liked from season 1 and season 2.
Oh, that's good. Good. I'm hoping to finish season 1 the next flight we take. I think I got into the 3rd episode.
You hadn't even met Grogu yet, have you?
I got to the point where the Mandalorian was in having a shootout, and he met Grogu, and there's that robot that was behind him, or then something shot the robot, or what? Was that the first episode? Or was that the second episode? Anyway, that's as far as I got. But wait, but Jack Black's in it at some point, right? Right?
Season 3.
Oh gosh, I'm not gonna get to that for a decade.
It's not bad. Jack Black and Lizzo, which are like, what? But so at this point, you don't even know what the child's or baby's name is at this point.
Oh, it's not Grogu? It's
you don't know that for a couple seasons.
Oh, okay, no, I didn't. Okay, no, I'll do you one better. I didn't realize he had a name that wasn't Grogu.
Hey, you know the best thing about this? It feels like I'm talking to Tony, because Tony doesn't keep up with this stuff either.
There you go. That's how I can pull my weight to fill in. There you go. I bring the same pop culture relevance to the table. Keep that bar nice and low.
I don't know. You read any good books lately? I don't know. Wait, what? No. Okay. Great question. When you're not playing board games or making videos, are there any other hobbies that you enjoy?
No.
And thanks for the show, everybody.
I have been enjoying Slay the Spire 2, which has been fun. I've been playing that, and I do have like a half dozen things on my wish list for Steam that I've been waiting to come out forever. But another thing I have been doing is I go in waves of doing kind of like web design, web programming and stuff. And I have been in kind of a little wave of like, okay, good. I got 3 hours for this evening free. I want to make a web page that does this thing. And like for one of the things I've been working on actually is my game collection. I have about 700 board games. And so the room I'm in has shelves down all the walls. Where the problem with that is when your wife comes up and says, "Hey, I'm in the mood to actually play a game. Why don't we play that one game we played 5 years ago?" It's like, great. All I gotta do now is find it. So I have actually been toying with making a system where I can take my phone and read the ISBN barcode of a game and make a little database. And then I can make little QR codes to put on my shelves. To then say, oh, okay, the game with this ISBN code is on shelf 7A. Okay, perfect. And so then I can instantly go find the games that are in this room surrounding me. So making oh my gosh, I just saying it out loud, I realize how absolutely sad of a situation I'm in.
In the words of Austin Powers, nerd alert.
But to be fair, it has been giving me joy to work on it. And I think that's what's really important here.
So actually, no, so this isn't bad. So one of the hobbies I've gotten into since I've talked to you last is collecting retro video games.
Yeah, that's right.
Not a ton. In fact, if you look over kind of the top back there, that's kind of a shelf of some of the retro games. But I actually downloaded an app that does that. It reads the barcode. So I'll get a game in and read the barcode and it adds it to my collection. So doing something like that with board games, 100% makes sense. For somebody who's wanting to log their catalog of games, how great would it be? Barcode, done.
Yeah. The real hurdle is that getting the initial barcode in the database. And then every variation of a game, edition, reprinting, whatever, can have a different barcode. So it's like, okay, now I got to go and tie all these together. And it's one of those, you know how it is. Any sort of like software or web development, once you start working on it, you realize there's so many things you didn't realize you didn't know that you're going to have to unpeel those layers of the onion and add those in as well. But again, it's part of the process. It's part of the fun.
That's interesting. I guess this app that I use is the same thing. Somebody somewhere is obviously adding to the database. Is there like a central database where it's like, oh, I'm registering this barcode and this barcode is associated with this?
Maybe. I do remember like a decade ago, I was working on something else and I found some big, I don't know if it was a government repository or just some service, but there was a big thing of barcode things and it was a paid service. It was like you subscribed to it. And so I never, it was the music industry. That's what it was. It was barcodes for albums. That's what it was for. But yeah, it was a paid service. So there are things out there if an industry gets big enough. In a nutshell, to answer your question, no, I never do leave the house. So I never seen movies, never reading books. Just
so since the pop culture subject totally failed, I'm going back to the intro. All right, so you talked about your collection of games.
Sure.
This is another thing that I noticed that's changed.
Okay.
I don't remember at what point in time, and it may have been at the pandemic or right after, my board game collection swelled. Okay. And now it's shrinking rapidly, and I want it to shrink even faster.
Oh, that is a good point. Yes, I've seen that from many different people, both content creators and just normal board gamers. And I myself developed a rule where if there is not shelf space in this room, I got to get rid of something. So everything has to have a shelf space. Now, when I did that, when I came up with that rule a few years ago, the first thing I did is I got one more shelf.
I was going to say.
After that,
where this was going.
Yeah. I've maxed out on shelves now. I cannot add any more shelves. So now that I've reached that point, if there's not a shelf space for it, it's got to go. And even then, it's like, it would be nice to have a little bit of a buffer. And looking at some things and go, well, is this giving me joy? Because 99% of the games on the shelves are because when I look at this game is because I picture the person I want to share that experience with. And, and it's at the point, it was far beyond the point of thinking, oh yes, I look at this game, I think of this person I want to share this experience with. But then wait, I have a queue of 5 other games that I want to share that experience with them as well. We're not going to be able to play all 6 of these. So what's the 1 or 2 I'm actually ever going to get to play with that person? And do I need the other 4? And I think, it's that's definitely, I think, a healthy way to look at things.
Yeah, and I struggle too, because I'll like, oh, that was such a good experience. That was such a good experience. When was the last time I had that experience? 8 years ago. But it was such a good experience that maybe I want that experience again. That's the part now I'm stuck. It's like I've got to let that go. But it's also tough too, is some of these games are just out of print. And I'm like, crap, I'm getting rid of games that you can still get more so than older games, knowing that, what's a primary? One's not even coming to mind. There was a game I saw the other day. I was like, holy cow, I know you can't get this game anymore, so I don't want to get rid of it in case. But at some point, I'm going to have to make that decision. It's like, it doesn't matter. I can't get it anymore. I've just got to get rid of it.
Yep. There's, you're right. Yeah, I'm just going to say you're right, because trying to think of a game to fit that criteria, I can't think of one because there's so many to choose from immediately. So yeah, it's absolutely true.
Yeah. And also that I'm finding too is a lot of the games, again, because I've been doing this for so long, a lot of the games are now similar. Well, this is to me is similar to this. So which one of the 2 am I going to keep? You're gone. This one's similar to this. You're gone. That's made life really easy. For example, this one's almost too easy to compare. Ethnos version 1, Ethnos version 2. Okay. Oh, I didn't like version 2 at all. Gone. Keeping the first one, sort of deal.
Okay.
But that's not a good example. Maybe it's like this area control versus this area control. That one's gone.
One that I actually have on my shelves, or had on my shelves for this very thing, Machikoro versus Space versus Bad Company. All 3 of those, very similar concepts. Do you need all 3? And yeah, there you go.
What lasted?
Space. And actually, Bad Company hasn't left yet either, because I want to play it at least once before it goes, just to see. But when the time comes to play a game like that, we still choose Space, which now, again, saying out loud, I realize maybe I've already discovered the solution to my problem. I just haven't been able to admit it to myself.
Yeah. Shoot, I remember one was Hadrian's Wall. The flip and right game, the heavy one. I loved that game so much, and I keep, every time I go to call, I pull that game off the shelf, and I'm going, man, this was good. I want to play it again. And I slide it back in. I guess one of these days it's like, no, you're gone, sort of deal.
You know what I do is I have a dedicated little sub shelf, one of my shelves I have for, games I'm thinking of getting rid of. I put them on that shelf. And if they sit there for a year, it's like, okay, I was like, I don't want to get rid of it yet, so I'll put it on this shelf. But if I come back a year later and I still haven't played it, it's like, am I ever going to play this at this point? And then it's like, okay, it can go. And you know what? It feels like getting a nice haircut sometimes to make some room on your shelf.
I do not understand the analogy at all.
Oh, it's
like getting a haircut, and that's what I feel about getting rid of a game on my shelf.
Because you develop a new style.
Could you do my eyebrows too? I mean,
it's like shaving your legs, Marty. But anyway, it's just like, you can wear shorts, and you don't have to worry about chafing, and it's just cooler in the sun. And so it's freeing in that way. You can actually feel lighter, physically and emotionally lighter, kind of like getting a fresh haircut. It's like, oh, I feel you're still not following me at all, are you?
He's got a shovel, and he just keeps like, we're gonna run this right into the ground. The haircut thing works. Just stay with me.
Let me try 5 different analogies, okay?
Look, it's gotta be first, different, or the best.
We'll stick with that one instead.
Oh, and with that, thank you so much for coming on. I was trying to think, I guess the last time your voice was heard on the show was several years ago for the Squirrelies, which you were on every year. I'm not sure the last time that you had like an individual, we had you on as an individual segment. I do see what a year, I bet you it was October 4th, 2022, seems to be the latest, 269, where you came on the show to talk about what toys should be in the 2022 Hall of Fame.
Oh my goodness, I remember that. I don't remember what one or what the picks were, but I remember doing that. Wow.
Oh, that's when I was playing around, I'm looking at the thumbnail, playing around with the thumbnails, and it's like, oh, I got your clouds in the background. That's hilarious. The background of the thumbnail is your clouds, which are sitting right behind you right now. This is funny.
Should I take this shirt off too now at this point then? Is that...
No, we're done. We're done. Before we get out of here. And people are still interested enough to find out more about you and maybe watch some of your stuff. Where could they find it?
You can find our stuff on YouTube at Game Night Picks. So YouTube/Game Night Picks. Also, there's GameNightPicks.com, which is a website I put together talking about enjoying putting web pages together. Game Night Picks is a website that allows you and your game group to vote on the games that you want to play at your next game night, and then vote together on which ones trickle up to the top, so that when game night comes around, you don't spend the entire evening staring at the shelves going, oh, what do you want to play? So come in prepared. The opposite of what I did with this podcast recording session.
Well, you know what? If you're up for the challenge, maybe you can come on again in the future. Maybe when Tony's around, and obviously you're welcome to come on the show anytime you want. This has been a blast. I thought, man, we haven't had a guest like this in quite a while. Number one, nobody wants to talk to us anymore. But other than that.
Well, it would be lovely. I would welcome the opportunity anytime.
All right. And do you remember by chance how we end the show?
Who says? I don't remember who says what, but keep rolling dice and taking names.
No, I say the end, taking names. You just stepped all over my line.
Until next time, faithful viewer, keep rolling dice.
Oh man, that was said with much more enthusiasm than Tony does it.
Oops, I accidentally raised the bar on something. Sorry, Tony.
Hey y'all, thanks for listening. Don't forget to go over to our Discord channel and join in on our discussions. You may be wondering, wait a minute, how do I join your Discord channel? Well, we have a link over on our website at RolldDiceTakeNames.com, plus all links to our socials are there also. And even though Tony thought Chaz might be his exit plan, that's not the case. He'll be back next episode. Chaz, you've been on the show many times before, so it wasn't the first.
Yeah.
We do the same thing we always do. It wasn't different. I don't know if people would call it the best, so what would this be?
Home and available.